Hello everybody, it is Viola Hug here, Vision Alignment Coach, and I'm really excited to have you here on the 12-day challenge. So today's day one. As you know, I honestly was so excited by all of your posts this morning. I love them. Sorry, excuse me one sec, my hair is like falling apart. So I was so pumped to see your posts and your visions and your vision boards. Like, it made me so happy looking at them. And I mean, I've said it before, one of the things that I personally am, I guess that I'm gifted in, or whatever you want to call it, is that when I see someone's something that they have a vision for, or something that they want to do, or they're sharing that with me, particularly when I'm in conversation and connecting with people, I get visions as a confirmation that the things that they are wanting to do are aligned with them, and I get either images of what they're telling me about, or I get maybe like a different angle, or even something, I'm so white in this angle, I don't know why, like a different image, maybe something that they hadn't thought of as well. So when I look through those vision boards and connect with you guys about that, I get so excited because I just wish you could see like all of that's within you. Like, you really are capable of achieving every one of those things, and I know that to be true because one thing I know for sure is that one thing I know for sure is that we don't have desires for things by accident. We are specifically given the things that we desire because they're part of our purpose and they're part of what we're meant to be doing. So it's not that it's like a random coincidence that you desire to, whether it be live in a specific home or wear specific clothes or do specific things with your life, or if you're drawn to feeling a specific way. Like, for example, one of the things that I would encourage you guys to do if you're still working on developing your vision a little bit is to think about what kind of things make you really happy and what sort of things bring you like what, I guess, feelings have you had that you would like to call more of into your life. Because I truly believe that as you know how I was just saying, when we think of an idea or a goal and it's in alignment, when it's in alignment, it doesn't always mean that we will have that exact thing. However, it means that pursuing that thing is the right thing for our path, right? So it means that we I'm just cracking up, sorry. I'll tell you guys later if it comes up, but so yeah, these things don't come to us necessarily because that exact thing is what we need or want. However, it comes to us because A, we're capable of doing it, right? Like I've said before. But secondly, because it's part of our alignment to get us to where we want to be in our life. So whether it is because that exact thing is what we'll end up having and is part of our journey, or whether it's going to teach us something that we need to know in order to get to where we should be, or whether it is just part of what's going to take us from where we are now to that next phase that we need to be. So it is all I guess not an accident, you could say, why these things happen for us. So while you guys are all joining me, thank you so much for being here as well. I really appreciate it. Feel free to ask me questions as well. Like if you've posted your vision board and you have more questions today about specifically the topic of whether it be creating your vision or getting more clarity on your vision, or that purpose, you know, that feeling a lot of people ask, what is my purpose, and that sort of thing, feel free to ask me. I'm more than happy to tune in and see what comes out and just as well any advice or tips that I can give you on creating that for yourself as well. But like I said, that first tip that I'm going to really encourage you guys to do is focus on the feelings that bring you joy. And obviously I just said joy as a feeling, but you know, there might be other things that make you feel really good. So you might find that when you are in deep conversation with friends, that is a time where you just feel like it's effortless, you know, like it's just, things just flow, and time almost becomes an illusion, if you know what I mean. Like it's joyful and it's easy and it's flowing. Or is it when you are spending time in nature, or is it when you are creating? Is it when you're like in creative mode and you're creating content and or like ideas, you know, brainstorming? Is that when you feel most in flow? Start to kind of observe in your life, because those are all things that are clues to what our real purpose and I guess areas of our life that we're aligned to be in. And like I said before, our desires aren't on accident. So when we have a desire for something, it was actually placed within us, okay? It was placed within us as a signal that that is something we should pursue. So you don't need to doubt yourself or wonder if it is for you or if you can do it, because the fact that you have that desire in the first place is already all the sign that you need to say that that is something you should pursue, right? I just thought of something else that I was going to share, but it's left my mind as I was sharing that point. So if it comes back to me, I will share again. Let's see who's online. Chantel, Callie, Connie, Nick. Feel free to ask those questions if you do have any. I've been loving, Chantel, if you don't mind me picking on you for a moment, I've been really loving seeing the development of what you're creating, because Chantel has just recently gone through a massive shift where, you know, one of the things that she thought she was really passionate about ended up almost being more a gateway for her, and it's still something that she loves doing. However, it's not the full embodiment of her potential. And it's been so beautiful to see the transitions that she's been making and just fully owning it and trusting it, you know? And actually, to the point that I wanted to make earlier that had eluded me for a moment, I just wanted to share that we are not on this earth to discover who we are. Okay? We are not here to discover who we are. We are actually here to create who we are. So we should, rather than be living life wondering, I need to figure out who I am, we should be living our life thinking, who do I want to be? Who do I want to be? And not only is this something that I personally, when I heard this and first was feeling this thought out, I was thinking, wow, that is almost like so much pressure off my back. You know what I mean? Like when you feel like you have to figure out who you are and figure out your purpose, it's like this, almost like this heavy feeling. It's like, oh my god, so much pressure, I have to figure out who I am and I have to do all this stuff and I'm not figuring it out and la da da da. Let that go completely, because that is actually not your purpose. Your purpose is to decide who you want to be and create that. So that's why I was giving you these cute cues earlier of really recommending you to look at the areas of your life where you really flow, what you enjoy doing, and use those as clues to areas of what you can pursue more. And to give you an example for myself, like I've always loved talking to people about their goals. I love having my own goals. I always have different goals pop into my head. Like I could just be walking down the street and look at like a tree and a mailbox and 10 different goals pop into my head somehow related to the tree and the mailbox. And I love encouraging people with their goals. I love achieving my own goals. I love seeing other people achieve their goals. And for some reason, even though this is something that was such a strong aspect of my life, I never actually realized how those were clues that that is actually what I'm meant to work in, is helping people align and discover their visions while going through that process myself, you know. And I went through specific challenges that helped me develop in areas that I needed to, and I naturally had talents in other areas, and I grew more confidence in those as I started to realize that was really something that not only I was discovering, but I was also wanting to. Like that, the idea of working in that area really excited me. You know, I was like, yes, I want to work in that. So I wanted to create myself in that aspect, and all of these particular personality traits and mindset shifts that really resonated with me, again, were not by mistake, because we don't desire and want things if they aren't meant for us for whatever reason. Those are all also things that I've chosen to work on developing and creating in myself. So I was once a very, very impatient person, and now I've become rather patient. Like I don't often get annoyed when I'm needing to wait for something or someone. Like, you know, I might be like, oh, I wonder when it's coming, but I'm not necessarily getting annoyed, where literally I used to have to wait for a couple of seconds for something and I would get frustrated. And it just cracks me up, because when I look at my life now, you know, I've had so many things where I've literally had to hold patience and belief and faith in what I was wanting to manifest or create in my life for years. You know, and so I think that definitely helped develop my patience. Another thing as well, like even though I always had a very massive fear of public speaking, as I started to realize the things that I was passionate about and start, you know, looking at the different ways that I could express that, public speaking was really appealing to me, because the idea of speaking to large masses of people was, I don't know, it was just really appealing to me. But I had a massive fear in that area, like to the point where in my third year of uni, and I'm talking, this is only 2011, so not even that long ago, I had to do a presentation. There's probably like 7 to max 12 people in the room, and I broke out in hives. Like my arms, my whole chest, my face went red with like blotches, and my voice was quivering so much that I kept like having to pause, and I literally thought it would never end, and it was 5 minutes. And my biggest problem now with public speaking is that I speak too much. Like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I only have 30 minutes. Like, how am I ever going to say everything that I want to share in 30 minutes? So that was, again, it was something that I decided that I wanted to develop. I was drawn to that for a specific reason. I decided that was something I wanted to create for myself, and I worked towards that. So I hope this is encouraging for all of you guys. Like, if you don't have massive clarity on particularly not only the things you want to have in your life, because I saw that was beautifully displayed on a lot of the vision boards. Honestly, guys, again, so amazing. I love them. I'm so excited by them. I showed mine as well, like the one that I have on my screensaver on my phone. I saw a lot of beautiful things that people want to call into their life and manifest, and that is amazing. Like, that aspect of us is so important. We need to be totally understanding of the fact that we are actually here to live our life to the fullest. We are here to experience all of these human things that we want. So material aspects of this earth are totally here for us to enjoy as well. So we should always be happy and excited to ask for those things and call those things in. And some people had like career goals and, you know, other really beautiful affirmations about the things they want to create, and I loved all of that. If you're somebody who's wanting to go a little bit deeper and really feel, you know, that, I guess, the vision of your life, and it develops as you go, as you know, how I was just saying that we create an aspect of ourselves, and that's how we actually achieve fulfillment and start living at our highest potential. Once we actually create that for ourselves, we actually unlock a whole new aspect and a higher potential that we're able to create and become. So that's the other cool thing as well. It's like, it's not really like we'll ever get to a place and be stagnant, because there's always going to be evolution for us, and there's always going to be new things we're capable of. But back to what I was saying, which was something about oh yeah, like feeling more purpose and vision. Like, let's say that highest possible vision for our lives right now. Like, literally, if you could design every aspect of your day, to the thoughts that you think on a daily basis, to the emotions you feel on a daily basis, to what you feel you're giving back, like how you want other people to feel in your presence, to what kind of work you do, like how fulfilled are you by that, what are your surroundings? What are your belief systems? Like, that is the kinds of things that I would really encourage you to delve deep within yourself to discover and get more clarity on, because within all of that, you're going to start to really pull out those bits that are most important to you. And really, when I speak about aligning with your ultimate vision and aligning yourself with that highest possible potential for your life, that's what it is, you know? That's that juicy amazingness that you are capable of achieving. So, and that you want to create for yourself, you know, and I think also it pulls you closer, because rather than it being a car and a house, again, awesome goals, but rather than it just being a car and a house in the future for yourself, they are a part of your story. They're a part of, you know, like, how do you feel when you get in that car? Like, how do you feel when you're sitting in your home and you look out the window and you see your car parked in the garage or whatever it might be? And it's like almost like you're creating a scenario, like a movie film of what your life is like. So not only is it just a car, but it's this whole lifestyle that comes with it. Like, what kind of mindset do you need to be in to have that kind of car, and what sort of beliefs do you need to have about money, and what kind of beliefs do you need to have about yourself, and those sorts of things. Amazing questions. Yes, I agree. Well, Tony Robbins says the quality of our life is directly based on the quality of the questions we ask ourselves. So there you are. A really cool example that I thought I would share as well. Sorry, my hair is just, I know it's not a big deal, but it's like, you know, when your hair feels like floppy on your head, it's like not the best feeling. Anyway, so an example that I thought I would share, and it's funny because I know so many people who share a similar story now, this is back even before my personal development days. So when I was about 18, I watched the movie The Secret for the first time, and that was awesome because it gave me a lot of insights and mindset shifts that I actually utilized quite a lot over the next few years before I continued any of the rest of my personal development journey, which probably wasn't for another 5 years. But one of the things that movie did for me is it was almost like I had this feeling in, like, you know, I believed I was able of manifesting things I wanted. I didn't even know what manifesting meant, but I knew I could do the things I wanted to do with my life. I knew that I was meant for more than the norm. I didn't necessarily know what it was, but I was very attracted to lifestyles like what celebrities have, singers and movie stars. And I know now it's not because I was really necessarily drawn to those specific careers, but I was drawn to the fact that they didn't have to live life like everyone else in society, right? And so I knew within me that I was capable of those things, but society was telling me otherwise for most of my life. And when I saw The Secret, it was almost like confirmation to me that, yeah, actually, you know what? I can do whatever I want. And that was such an amazing lesson. I'm so grateful for my mum for sharing that with me when I was 18. And then, yeah, I didn't really do any more personal development or really think in that aspect for the next few years. However, when I was must have been 21 or 22, 7 years ago now, about 7.5 years ago, I decided that I really wanted to call in my soulmate. I'd been going through this phase where I, you know, was very happy being independent. Like, I was really doing a lot of development. I was dealing with, you know, overcoming the grief of my dad for the first time, which had been about 5 years after he'd passed away. So I was going to counseling, and I was, you know, feeling really empowered in myself. And I got this tattoo, like, oh, I don't know if I can show you without flashing you. It's like so old now, but I got this tattoo, right? And it's love in big block letters because, first things first is because I saw the water experiment. Have you seen that water experiment where they put like hate and love on water and you see what it does to the water crystals? And so that was the first reason I decided to get love tattooed on my skin. And then the second reason was because I really believed that, and with now I'm just like, man, I was so like switched on back then, but I didn't even think about it that way. I just knew I wanted love, and I wanted big block letters because I felt like it wasn't just about calling in love and like being all like lovey airy fairy. It was about this like foundation of what I believe our life should be built on in every aspect, you know, coming from a place of love and sharing love with other people, and, you know, yes, having love in a relationship as well. Like, that was part of the reason, but it wasn't the number one reason. And I started getting a lot of clarity on what I wanted in a partner, because I didn't just want anyone. I wanted my soulmate. Like, I wanted the person that I would spend the rest of my life with. And so I started creating a list of all the things that yes, self-love too, absolutely. Like, I mean, it's so multifaceted, right? but yeah, so I started making this list, and there were really like silly things on there, but there are also really awesome things. Like I wanted a partner that was musical, because my dad was really musical and I unfortunately did not get that gene. My dad was a musician and I loved music, though. I loved listening to music, and it's something that I wanted my kids to be around as well. So I really wanted a partner that was musical, and I wanted I even wrote things down like brown hair and blue eyes, which I didn't even really know why, because at the time I didn't even know that's necessarily what I was attracted to, but that was partly on my list. And I wrote down just tons and tons of stuff, and I would say to my friends, oh, this is gonna be my soulmate, I'm gonna meet him, and they're all like, keep dreaming, this guy doesn't exist. And I like wrote funny things as well, like he needs to think he loves me more, but I actually love him more, but he thinks he loves me more. Like, just, I don't know, it was all these things, and I wrote down how he makes me feel, and his traits, and all of these things. And at the time, again, I didn't know this, but looking back, this is what I did, is then I was working on myself, because this whole time I wasn't just sitting there going, I want this kind of person in my life. I was working on myself, and I was working on bettering myself, and I was really in a very empowered stage at that time. And I just felt so good about so many aspects of my life, and I always thought about this guy that I was gonna manifest, like, not like super obsessively, but quite a lot, you know, because I was like, one day I'm gonna meet him. And then that was probably in around July, and then in November that year, 2010, I met Nick, who is now my husband. Spoiler alert for those that know him. And it was just, so there was, you know, two main aspects of that story, which is why I wanted to share it. Is the first thing is I had absolute clarity on every aspect of what I wanted to manifest, which was someone who, not necessarily someone, but it was, I knew physically what my goal was, I knew emotionally how I felt because of that goal, and I think those are two really important aspects, right? So those two things are things I just spoke about, you know physically what you want, but also know, really importantly, how do you feel about your goal. And then the third aspect is that you're not, or I guess the second in this case, is not that you are then just waiting around expecting these things to happen, or taking action that's almost like aimlessly taking action because you don't have that clarity. You're specifically taking actions to become the kind of person that can manifest these things. Okay? So if you want the dream career where you're feeling fulfilled, and you want the beautiful home and a loving family, or, I'm just using really basic examples because I don't know anyone's specific goals off the top of my, I'll share that in a second, Chantel, off the top of my head. What you want to be focusing on as well is like, what kind of person do I need to be to have this kind of life? Okay? So, what kind of beliefs would you have if you were in that, if you were in that mindset? Like, what kind of beliefs does someone have who is completely fulfilled in their work and has, like, wealth to be able to live in a beautiful home and own quality things and eat, like, all the amazing organic food and have the top quality health products? Like, what kind of mindset does someone like that have? And sometimes we overcomplicate it because we think, well, I don't know, But the thing is that, again, if it's within your consciousness, it means that it's actually already created in a parallel reality. All you need to do is align yourself with that version of you. Okay, I hope I didn't lose anyone with saying that, because it's like, sounds really airy-fairy, but it's just like, I don't know, it's like a scientific fact, pretty much. And I'm a scientist, so I can say that. The idea is that then we, what was I saying? Sorry, I'm just like so excited right now. All these different things keep coming into my head and I need to like bring myself back and focus. So I was saying about that we already can create it and we need to align with ourselves. So what you need to do is you just need to take a few moments and imagine yourself in that scenario. And then it might be a bit bizarre for some people, but you just have to trust the process. Imagine yourself in that space, and then imagine yourself asking yourself, so there's two of you, there's you right now with yourself in this cool new home or this new lifestyle that you want to create, this vision for yourself, ask them. Say, what do you believe? What are your beliefs around money? What do you enjoy? Like, what's your morning routine? Ask these sorts of questions and just trust what comes up, because usually the first thing that comes up is the right thing. Just write them down, and then you'll know if you feel really like good about those things, or if like you feel like really yucky about those things. Like, some of those things might be a little bit out of your comfort zone. Like, for example, I don't know why, but whenever I picture my future self, I always pictured her doing yoga, and this was back when I didn't even do any yoga. And for those of you that have been following me for a while now, you know that earlier this year I did my yoga teacher training in India. So, you know, it was just so random, because at the time when I originally thought that, I never pictured myself doing a yoga teacher training, and now I did. And it's just really funny, because that was like something that was out of my comfort zone at the time, because I was like, oh, I'm so unflexible and all these things, you know. So yeah, anyway, some of them might not necessarily be within your comfort zone, but that's a good thing, right? Because if they're in your comfort zone, you'd already have what you're wanting to manifest. So yeah, just trust what comes through. That's an exercise I highly recommend that you do to help you align with your vision more, and also create your vision more. So just quickly going back to my story about Nick and I, how we ended up meeting is this particular summer I was still at uni, and it was summer holidays between my second and my third year at uni. And I was going to be living in Auckland that year, and so I moved in with my friends in Auckland, and I decided to go up to Northland to the Bay of Islands for one sort of girls' night out, because I used to live in the Bay of Islands and I still had a lot of friends there. So went to the Bay of Islands to Paihia. I was honestly just being so crazy, because at this stage, like I was saying, I was very empowered and I was happy being on my own, and I was just like, I was always silly in front of people, because I didn't really care what people thought, because I wasn't trying to impress anyone. And I actually like went to town with a Harry Potter scar drawn on my forehead, pretending I was Harry Potter. And anyway, he just spotted me from across the room. And yeah, it was funny, because we actually all had mutual friends. So all of his friends knew me, and all of my friends knew him. But for some odd reason, we'd never met, even though we'd lived in the same area for like 2 or 3 summers in a row. Yeah, it was really weird. And then he just spoke to me, and yeah, then I gave him my number, and the next weekend I went up and we went to the beach and we hung out, and then I'm pretty sure it was that weekend he asked me to be with him forever. We moved pretty quick. But yeah, it was an awesome, fun time. But yeah, that's that story. So I hope this has helped you create some clarity. Like, always feel free to ask questions as well if there's anything that you specifically feel like you need guidance in. But yeah, there's still tonight. Like, keep thinking about that vision. Feel free to ask questions after if you're watching the recording, or you think of something after, just comment on this post, or even do your own post. And thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited for today and the next 11 days. And I look forward to continuing to align with you. Talk to you soon. Mwah.